The Big Apple is one of the most densely populated cities in the world with over 8 million people in its metro area. What would happen if a major disaster struck like a once-in-a-lifetime event? We decided to find out. The most recent devastating storm was Hurricane Sandy in 2012, which caused an estimated $65 billion in damages. But what if it were much worse, like a Category 5 hurricane, the worst kind, to hit New York City? New York, like many coastal cities, has been getting battered by storms for centuries. New York is prone to flash floods, especially in the subway system, which is partly below ground. The power outages could last for days or even weeks. With so many people trying to leave the city at once, there would be gridlock and major delays on the roads and bridges. The Indian Point Energy Center is a nuclear power plant located just 30 miles or 50 kilometers north of New York City. In 2017, it was reported that the plant had been leaking radioactive tritium into the environment. Tritium is a radioactive form of hydrogen and is one of the main components of nuclear fusion bombs. A loss of power to the plant could lead to a meltdown and the release of radioactive material into the environment. This could have devastating consequences for the surrounding area and the city of New York. The potential for a nuclear disaster at Indian Point adds another layer of complexity and risk to the already challenging situation of a major storm hitting New York City. It is a reminder of the importance of investing in safety measures and emergency preparedness to protect against all possible threats. While it is not considered to be a significant health hazard to humans in small doses, it can be dangerous in larger amounts. Whether it is a natural disaster, a terrorist attack, or a technological failure, we must be ready to respond quickly and effectively to minimize the impact on human lives and the environment. The potential consequences of a storm surge, waves, and heavy rainfall associated with a Category 5 hurricane could be devastating for the city of New York. From widespread flooding and infrastructure damage to disruptions in essential services and mass evacuations, the impacts would be far-reaching and challenging to recover from. Additionally, the threat of a nuclear disaster at the Indian Point Energy Center adds another layer of complexity and risk to this already dire scenario. However, by investing in safety measures and emergency preparedness, we can better protect ourselves against these threats and minimize the potential damage. Let's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. The leak from the Indian Point plant was small and did not pose a major risk to public health. However, it did raise concerns about the plant's safety and reliability. It consists of 3 nuclear reactors that generate about 2,500 megawatts of electricity. Its proximity to New York City makes it a potential target for a nuclear attack. The plant's owners have taken steps to improve security at the facility, but the threat of a terrorist attack remains a concern. The plant is owned by Entergy Corporation and provides power to about 1.1 million homes in the New York City area. Public transportation would likely cease to function during the storm. All of this would lead to more widespread gridlock and congestion. Roads would become impassable, making it difficult for emergency vehicles to respond to the crisis. With so many people affected by the storm, there would be a huge demand for resources such as food, water, and medical supplies. This could overwhelm the city's emergency response capabilities, leading to further chaos and panic. The storm drains and sewers are constantly battling to keep up with rainfall. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy dumped a record amount of rainfall, 7.4 inches or 19 centimeters in Central Park. This caused widespread and catastrophic flooding. A more intense storm could bring even more rain, leading to even more dangerous flooding. These storms have wind speeds ranging from 157 to 200 miles per hour, or 252 to 322 kilometers per hour. They cause massive destruction to anything in their path. And although they don't strike the United States very often, there have been several major ones in recent history, such as Katrina, Maria, and Harvey. Category 5 hurricanes are the most powerful kind of tropical cyclone that can occur. First of all, the city would be in big trouble because most of the city sits on a coastal flood zone. About 70% of New Yorkers live within 5 miles of a coastline. If a storm surge from a Category 5 hurricane inundated the city, it could affect millions of people living in the low-lying coastal areas. Even without a storm surge, high winds from the hurricane could push the ocean water onto the land, causing massive flooding. So what would happen if a Category 5 hurricane struck New York City? But even if the storm surge and waves weren't strong enough to cause major flooding, the heavy rains associated with a Category 5 hurricane would definitely cause problems. The flooding from a major storm would not only damage property and infrastructure, but also disrupt essential services such as electricity, gas, water, and sewage. Many people would likely try to flee the city, but evacuating over 8 million people would be a logistical nightmare. And as if all that wasn't bad enough, there's the threat of a nuclear disaster. The Indian Point nuclear power plant has been the subject of much debate over the years due to concerns about its safety and environmental impact. In addition to the tritium leak, the Indian Point plant has been the target of several terrorist threats over the years. In the event of a major storm such as a hurricane, the Indian Point plant could be at risk of a catastrophic failure. While we hope that nothing like this will ever happen, it is important to be prepared for any eventuality.